Language is an incredible mystery, really. What is it that makes human beings able to communicate in word? Personally, I think that is the image of God in us, because God speaks. Right at the beginning of the Bible, God spoke the world into existence.
You know, you think about words and whether or not they're important, and we realize we can't even have a conversation without words. What's really interesting is that we can't even think to ourselves without words. We can't explain ourselves to ourselves without words. Now, that's either an accident of evolutionary biology and development, or it is evidence of the fact that God made us in His image. And so here the Bible tells us that we are God's creatures made in His image. And what distinguishes us from other creatures? Well, at least in part, the use of words.
So for God to speak is for God to engage in self-revelation. We only know God because God has condescended to speak to us. So one of the first things we say about God is that He is a speaking God. We would not know Him except that He speaks to us.
And the beautiful thing, really what makes life worth living and gives us the ability to, with hope, with joy, with tenacity, make it through the valleys of life, is the fact that the eternal God who created us can be personally known. He's with us. And according to one passage of Scripture in Hebrews chapter 13, if we will commit our lives to Him, He will never leave us or forsake us.
The Bible is essentially God's self-revelation, and God doesn't just reveal Himself in terms of what you must do. That is the consequence of who He is and the way in which He wants us to understand His world.
If God created us, then He sets the terms of His revelation. What we know, when we know it, how it is revealed, it's all dependent on Him. But it seems so strange, an eternal God tying Himself to human history, illustrating His character in law, prophecy, and wisdom. What happens when He appears, when He steps down into history and speaks?
You know, the question that always exists in people's mind is simply this: what is God like? And are there many gods, or is there one God? Of course, left on our own, all of these are mysteries. What you have at Sinai is very remarkable. You find, for example, that the people were to stand back. God said, "Stand back." No animal was even to touch the mountain. If an animal touched the mountain, it was to be put to death, but not directly with the human hand. It was to be shot with an arrow, because God says, "I'm coming, stand back." What God was revealing there was His holiness. So when we think of the Ten Commandments, they were not simply given for a certain point in time. They really are, let me use the word, omnitemporal. By that I mean, they exist as the basic law of God throughout all eras. And God is really saying in the Ten Commandments, this is what I'm like.
Change the language. Change the words. Destroy its mystery. For if it is by His words, we will alter